Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jay Recher Podcast. Happy Friday, May 16th. It is high noon. Hope everybody is having a wonderful end to their week and you got big plans for the weekend. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. And a big shout to everybody joining in on the program today already. Benny and my guy, David Terry, you are the man. The super chats help. Every little bit helps. 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, whatever, man. Every single little bit helps. If you want to keep this podcast going, we're going to have to find ways to monetize it. We are doing that. We are in the process of doing that. So every super chat, like the one from our guy, Dave Terry, one of our Mount Rushmore guests, Mount Rushmore listeners, viewers, Dave Terry, we love you, buddy. Thank you so very much. Obviously, noon today. I wish the timing was a little bit different, but our USF Bulls softball team is about to take the field right now against Auburn. So shout out to Ken Erickson, Josie Foreman, Alana Garcia, Alana Rivera, Kathy Garcia Soto, the entire crew. Go Bulls, horns up. We are behind you all the way, and we will definitely keep you guys abreast of the situation. We'll give you updates throughout the entire show. Speaking of USF, we will have Steve Bradley joining us at 1:10 today, the head coach of our men's golf team. They're going to the national championships for the 5th time in program history. He joins us at 1:10 today. Gabby Shirley joins us at 12:30. One of the voices, one of the faces of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Can't wait to hear what Gabby has to say about the team and also where you can watch the games next year. We've heard it from Ed Encina and Eric Erlinson. We're here from somebody that's actually going to be on the broadcast next year. Gabby Shirley will join us on the program. I want to hear from you guys. As always, very interactive on the show. Dolan, what's up, Jay? Happy Friday. Jets stay alive. For a minute, I thought Caps are going to push the series. I didn't have any faith in the Capitals that they were going to get past the first or the second rounds. Heck of a year. Don't get me wrong. Just knowing going against some of these other top teams, like I knew that they weren't going to be able to win a series against Carolina, winning a series against Florida. It was going to be a tough putt for them. Doesn't take away what happened this year. What an incredible season for the Caps. And, obviously number 8, Alexander Ovechkin. But wow. Just that's what you got to do. Right, you got to be able to beat the good teams, and unfortunately for them, they weren't able to do it. Robert Cochran, hey Jay, I know it's not Tampa related, but I live in OKC these days. How do you see the Thunder series ending? I'm glad you asked that, buddy, because I feel like when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, I love the way that they're just so versatile, right? With Lou Dort and with Jalen and obviously with Shea, and Holmgren's really been more aggressive, I think, in some of these later games in the series, and Isaiah Hartenstein, and me being a Knicks fan, I saw what he was able to do last year. I feel like if the game is close in Game 7, I think the Nuggets find a way to win, just because they've been there before. And it also, depends on the health. Like, what is Jamal Murray? Is he close to 100%? There's just a lot of guys that have been down that path before for Denver, and it starts with Jokic. And as much as SGA, like maybe he'll, is he one of the best players in the NBA? No doubt. Is he an MVP finalist? He has to be, because of how good the Thunder have been this year. But in like the championship pedigree, and just you can't replace experience. If the Thunder win, I think it's going to be by 10, 12, 15. I think if it's a close game, I think the Nuggets win, because they can go on the road and come away with the victory. And we've seen some of the big shots that they've made already in this postseason, Aaron Gordon and those guys. So yeah, if it's close in the 4th, I'm going to have to go with the Nuggets, Robert. I've noticed that in this series, right? I noticed that in this series when the game was on the line, some tough game, close calls, close situations. Yeah, Shea's going to be that guy, you would think, right? But we don't know. Like, Denver knows exactly what they're going to do in situations like that. So I'm going to go with Denver. And also, I think that if the Knicks end up getting to the finals, I think they have a better chance of beating Denver than they do Oklahoma City. JR, I'll try and stream you from across the pond going to Anfield for a tour. I'll try and go live. Nice, man. That'd be awesome. Call in if you can. That'd be great. Glad the Rays won. Yes. How great was it to see Josh Lowe back in the lineup? Lowe and Lau at the top of that Rays lineup. Dynamite. Unbelievable. All right. So, again, I mentioned we're going to talk about a bunch of different things today. And shout out to our guy, Joey Knight. Just wrote a great article on Brian Hodgson, the USF Bulls. Let me make sure. Got everything up here. Okay, good. Okay. All right. I want to hear from you on the program today. Here is the link right in the chat. Boom. There you go. So if you want to contribute to the program today via the phone or the laptop, the link is right there in the chat. And I can't believe it's been 6 years already since the big dog, Steve Duemig, has passed away. And I know I don't work at WDAE anymore, but I'd be remiss if I didn't start the show today talking about a guy that was vital to my upbringing in this business and to my success and what I've been able to do for a living. I have so much love and so much appreciation for the big dog, Steve Duemig. So every year on May 16th, I will do my part to honor his memory, because I feel like too many times in this world, we forget about people and we don't give them their flowers when they're on this earth. And I just heard that from Bubba Ray Dudley, a big time wrestler. Now that the Sabu has passed away, hardcore wrestler. And he mentioned in the last couple of days, like, we need to do a better job of giving people their flowers while they're still here. Like, why do we have to wait till somebody passes away before we say a bunch of nice things about them? The big dog is no different. And even though him and I got along really well, and, you know, of course we had our back and forth, and we'll go over that here in a second. If we can't give somebody like the big dog their flowers when they're here anymore, we can give it to them on this day, May 16th, 6 years after we lost the big dog. And I say lost, and I'll put this out on Twitter, but I don't know if we've ever really lost him. Like, he's still here. And for me, this is not one of those things where you look at the big dog and he's far. Some people will say that they remember the big dog, but words say one thing. Actions speak much louder. Ever since I had an office at iHeart, ever since I started doing the podcast, this is right next to me. Every single show that I've ever done here on the Jay Recher Podcast for now 5+ months, this guy is right here. Him and I had our back and forths. I remember one time with the big dog, I walked something into the studio with a piece of paper. This is very early on. And he like snatched it out of my hands. And I was pissed. I was fuming. And I go back into the studio and he's going back and forth. And I'm being short with him because I'm a person that wears my emotions on my sleeve. And he goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "No, I'm not okay." And I go, "My parents don't talk to me like that. My parents don't treat me like that. You're not going to treat me like that." And he pressed the button and he looks on and he goes, "Well, I'm sorry then." And I was like, oh. So the big dog at the end of every show would walk by the window. He would wave and would be on his merry way. But after this day, after this show, the big dog walked out the door and he hung a right and he came into the producer's room. And he said, "I just wanted to apologize." And I said, "Water under the bridge. We're good." And from that day forward, him and I were like this. thick as thieves. We could have uncomfortable conversations. He would let me talk. Now, the thing is, when you produce for the big dog, you don't cut the big dog off, especially during his epic, famous 3 p.m. monologue. You do not speak during the big dog's monologue. And I saw many a producer before then almost get their head literally bit off for chiming in. But the more and more I worked with the big dog, he almost was like, "Are you going to chime in? Come on, I want to hear what you have to say." And I felt so honored that a guy who was the voice of Tampa Bay sports, who still is, I'm going to say this right now. This is 2025. I haven't worked there since November. I would have said this if I was still working there. There has never been a voice with more impact. There has never been a voice that has been louder in the Tampa Bay area when it comes to sports than Steve Duemig. Not anybody else at WDAE before, during, or after. Not anybody on the TV side. Not anybody on the writing side. Nobody. The weight that man's words held in our area, heavier than anyone. I have yet to see or hear anybody that comes close to Steve Duemig. And I have these conversations with people to this day. I have conversations with Phil Esposito all the time because they moved the plaque from what once was the Duemig Den to up in the press box. And I know that rubs some people the wrong way because it was the Duemig Den. It was honored. You know, he was honored with that suite there at Amalie Arena. But I got to be 100% honest with you and transparent. The person that sees it more than anybody is probably me now. And if you ever go up to the press box with me and you take that freight elevator to floor 7, I do the same thing. And I've been doing it for 5 years or ever how long the plaque has been in there. I always go over and I always touch the big dog's head and I always slap him and I say hello. And I will always do that because hockey would not be the same here if it wasn't for him. Those talks that he had with Phil Esposito as Phil Esposito was driving over the bridge and those two guys would argue about the team. That was must listen to radio. And Phil will forever hold the big dog, Steve Duemig, in high regard. And he'll always tell me my favorite memory of the big dog is when he would talk so much shit about hockey and the Lightning. And then I got him and Whitney Johnson on the ice on skates. And I would go over and mess with him. And he still to this day, Phil laughs like a little kid when he tells me those stories. When you have an opportunity to do anything in life, and you might be a little apprehensive because you're worried that somebody's going to say no, or you're going to maybe offend somebody, or just they're going to tell you to pound sand, always go for it. I remember coming up with the idea of doing bark or bite for the show. And I was, I was fully prepared for the big dog to just say, "No, I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do more work?" And I would give him a statement. He would either agree or disagree, bark or bite. And he was 100% on board and had so much fun with it and looked forward to it. And I remember even it was after I was his producer, I would come back to iHeart just for that segment. Because if I didn't, he would text me or call me, bark or bite, bark or bite. He would want, and it would be he would want to talk about soccer. He would want to talk about hockey. Like that was his opportunity to talk about golf and horse racing. It was an opportunity to talk about things outside of topic A, B, C, and D on the radio. And I think that's one of the biggest things that is missed in sports radio nowadays, whether it's here locally or abroad. We get hit over the head so many times with what the Dallas Cowboys and what LeBron James and what the Yankees are doing that we don't find enough ways to be creative with segments that talk about other pertinent topics in the sports world. But the fact that Bark or Bite became a staple on the Big Dog Show every Tuesday at 3:30, and it meant so much to him. it just made me proud that I could just be a little bit of a part of his final shows. And again, it goes back to having the balls and having the gumption to be able to like put yourself out there, man. You never know what's the worst thing that could happen. If he would have told me to go have fun, whatever, what am I going to do? And then the final show, well, not his final show, but the day that he passed 6 years ago today. And John and Robert, I'm going to get with you guys in a second here. I remember coming up with this entire show. It was Ian and I working together. Ron was off that day. And I remember going into the little producer, not the producer room, but the little podcast room, we called it, with John Momola. We'll talk to John in a second. And finding out at about like 2:55 that the big dog had passed. And you immediately rip up the paper. We know what our show is going to be about today. And I remember calling Phil Esposito and telling him. And you could just hear it in his voice. There's a pain. There was a mourning. And Phil's a pretty stoic guy. And he was like, Jay, thank you so much for telling me. I'm glad it was you. And I remember being on air that day with Ian and having so many people call in, Derek Brooks calling in, and just hearing the profound impact that Steve Duemig had on people in the Tampa Bay area, and how sports radio is really unlike any other medium when it comes to media or sports. Because on a day where we could have talked about the Rays or the Lightning, we were talking about a guy that spoke about those teams. And everybody was locked in. And everybody had a memory. I remember when the big dog did this. I was here when the big dog spoke about this. Let's not ever forget those type of people that impact our lives in a way where you may not have ever met the big dog. But he was part of your childhood. He was part of your growing up. He was part of your sports fandom. He was the voice of the sports fan in this town. And again, the loudest, the most profound one that we've ever seen. And there's certain things you do in the radio business, and I felt the same way when we were doing hurricane coverage, where it's not about entertainment. It's more about a service to the people. And I think 6 years ago, I was as proud as I ever was working at WDA, because I thought we honored him in the right way. I thought we gave people the platform to be able to speak about him, friends, family members. And I thought us as a staff at WDAE did a great job of highlighting him. And I think this is the first year that I'm not at DAE on this anniversary. I always took it as a point of pride being there, that we commemorated this day with interviews and sound bites and drops and all these different things that really highlighted not just the talent, the big dog, but the man, Steve Duemig. And I'll forever do that. May 16th, 2025, 6 years after his passing, the big dog Steve Duemig, brother. I miss you. I love you. And yeah, as long as I have a microphone in front of my face on this day, I will definitely start every show talking about you crazy son of a bitch. Let's bring in John Momola. And John, this is the guy, and I know you got a chance to, like, your relationship was very detailed and in depth as well. And spending time with him at the Super Bowl was the way that you guys really, your friendship grew there, and you got to know a lot more about the guy. And man, just again, the voice of Tampa Bay sports, and it's incomparable.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I felt inclined on today to at least speak on the memory of the big dog. First and foremost, thoughts and prayers to his family, Jennifer, his widow.
No doubt.
She has been a constant presence with the station since his passing. Always reaching out, bringing lunches once in a while.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's fantastic. Yeah, we absolutely thoughts with her today. When I came to the station in 2011, the first interaction I had with Steve Duemig was a glance in the Duemig den. The Blackhawks were in town, my dumbass at the time, 30-year-old kid coming into the new town, going to see my favorite hometown team, decided to wear the colors of that team in that den. And I told this at the memorial service. The next day after that game, he walks in my office and slams the door. And it was 2 words. It was never again. Mm-hmm. And then he walked out. And then ever since that moment, I have never done that again.
Right.
And that's why that just shows me the presence that he had to understand that, yeah, I'm not from here either, but you're here now.
Right.
And you need to really embrace the area and embrace the teams because we matter. And, going to that first Super Bowl in Houston, it was a learning experience because I had only one previous, encounter covering the Super Bowl. But I learned a lot from Steve. Steve did not like talking to the celebrity radio row, right? Mm-hmm. He liked talking to his guys. He liked talking to guys like Ira Kaufman. He liked talking to guys like, what was the gentleman's name that we used to have on every week for an hour?
Steve Gallo, Warren
Steve
Sharp.
Gallo was one. Warren Sharp,
Todd Furman.
All that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So when I was at the Super Bowl, I was under the impression, well, if he's going to say no, then I'm going to get everything else, and that's how we kind of expanded the Super Bowl coverage that we did on DAE. But there was almost a semblance of you're working against me, not for me, until he saw the end results on Friday. And with Steve, you got to try things to earn his respect.
Right.
You talked about it with Barker Bite. You have to try things to earn his respect. It shows that you're putting effort into the thing that he called home, which was the station and his show. So that Friday, we met in the hotel bar. I was there with another member of the media who I will not name unless he says it's okay. And literally Steve walked in, laid down a very nice black American Express card and said, "We're going." And that was kind of my open door moment with the big dog. We closed that son of a bitch. And it was funny. The next day we're waiting in the airport. We're on the same flight back home. I'm riding in coach. He's riding in first class because it was in his contract. So I see him, getting in line, say, "Hey, have a good flight." See him on the way, as I go to the 31st row where he's in row 2. I say, "Hey, have a good flight." And then that's the night that I got a call from Travis Daly, who used to be our senior vice president of programming at iHeart. And that's when Steve, I believe, had a stroke. And it's a shame because, I really felt for a long time that there was a disconnect between me and him personally because of the nature of my hire. Right. And I thought that we had a really good experience together. And I got to see what Steve Duemig really was, a truly gentle soul and a good person and a guy that treated you as you treated him. If you work hard, he will believe in you and he'll back you. And I feel kind of robbed a little bit because I wish I would have gotten more of that. And when we went through the process of obviously him coming back and trying to do shows, I think we got a little, I personally got a little sense of that, but I was not going to be the guy that said, we're not doing this. Mm-hmm. And I know the station got a lot of pushback on that. And I wanted him to go out like he wanted to go out.
Right.
I thought it was only fair. And it's because of the respect and the prestige that he has in the Tampa Bay market. And I agree with you. There will not be another person that dominates the culture of Tampa Bay sports and discussion of Tampa Bay sports like the big dog. There will not be another person like that. It's funny. You were mentioning today, when you were talking, the blog, believe it or not, when we announced as a station the passing of Steve is up and it has a lot of, tweets still embedded in it,
Mm-hmm.
including one by Dave Wills. And
Wow.
that one really, I was reading that while you were going through your stuff, and Dave was right. And I'll read it right now. Saddened by this news, I might not have always agreed with what he said or how he said it, but he always had his finger on the pulse of Tampa Bay sports fans, and was our guard dog when outsiders went out after our teams. His on-air passion was second to none. 100% correct.
No doubt.
And it's a real shame. And I'm like you this time around, first time not in the building. We used to rally as a station, I felt, every year since his passing to make sure that this day was recognized. So I just felt compelled to share my thoughts and my stories and my thanks and prayers and thoughts to his family, because he deserves it. That family deserves it. And there will never be another one of him. There just won't.
You got that right. John, appreciate the call, man. Thank you, buddy.
Of course.
You got it, man. It's a great John Momola there. Check out everything that's going on with Barrett Media. John's doing a great job with them. Yeah, man. Unbelievable. We'll always remember the big dog. It's such a profound impact on everything that we've done. God, you're right. I mean, you look at the impact that he had and you wish we just had more. I remember the day where, unfortunately, he couldn't finish the show, and he was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I had to host from like the producer's side of it was sports radio. I was a producer, but I had to go. There was like another little cubicle that I had to host the show from unprompted because the big dog couldn't go on. He was just like, I can't do this anymore. It was rough, man. It was rough. But on a day like today, we want to remember the positive things. We want to remember the good times. And Justin Pegg says Steve Carney was there. And I think so because I ended up taking over hosting, and I think Steve took over for me. But I remember the talks on Wednesdays with Joe Bucks fan and the guys coming in studio, and Steve and Lee and Ira and, Todd Furman and Steve Gallo and all those guys, man. We had such a good time. Dick Girardi coming on talking about the ponies. God, it was just such a blast. Such a blast. But we remember you, big dog. We'll always remember you on a day like today. We love you. We miss you. RIP the big dog. Robert, what's going on, buddy? Thanks so much. Yeah, give me I got Gabby coming on in 2 minutes, so you got about 60 seconds. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, man, I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. Of course, I grew up when the big dog was on the radio. I remember vividly being in my dad's car and listening to him come on the radio and do his his rants. But I just want to say thanks for keeping up the good work, man. Especially after the unfortunate circumstances with everything. But I'll always follow you, even all the way here from OKC, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Robert. Man, you think the Thunder are going to win Game 7? What do you think?
Absolutely. Me and my fiance are going to be season ticket holders next year. So
nice. Yeah, and like I said, man, I think that they're such a talented team. They're so versatile. They have so many guys that can guard so many different spots. It's just that experience. They just don't have that same experience as Denver. And I think if they can just kind of stay out in front the entire time, they don't want to get in like that dog fight back and forth with them. If they do that, I think they're in trouble. Robert, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Brother. Appreciate you.
Be well. Good stuff there, Robert Cochran, the man. But yeah, finally on the big dog. Shout out to and John Momola put this Johnny Mimosa, as we like to call him now. By the way, a shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning for being class and keeping the memory of Steve alive with his plaque. Staying in the barn business is business, but the respect for his memory is loved. And it's funny too, because every time I go up to the press box and I tap his plaque on the wall, every time when I see Phil up there, he says the same thing too. He's just like, that crazy son of a gun. And I go, yeah, but there was nobody that defended the Lightning like the big dog, Steve Duemig. Nobody. And That's part of the reason why I think I'm so invested in the Bolts and why I still cover this team with the same kind of fervor all these years later, because that was the connection that Steve and I had. It was hockey, it was soccer, but it was the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I feel like, I don't know, I think it's maybe subconsciously. I mean, that's why I put so much effort into covering the Lightning. I spend my own money to cover them on the road because I feel like I'm kind of carrying that torch for the big dog. I love it. I love this team. I love talking about them, and we're going to do it with the one and only Gabby Shirley. Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Where are you?
I am. Shoot, I'm hoping the Wi-Fi is okay. Can you tell where I am? I am at Amalie Arena.
Are you really? I didn't. That's oh, that's awesome. What are you doing at Amalie Arena? You're even there outside the season.
Yes, Jay. We are here quite often. Well, it's busy right now, as you are well aware, with a certain special announcement, but also brainstorming for the season, the upcoming season.
So I know, look, we have talked about all the details with everything, but everybody was so apprehensive. We were talking about this new TV deal. The first thing that I heard was, what does this mean for Gabby? And then I saw the video and you're like, no, but so, I mean, just quelch everybody's fears that you won't be on the TV next year with our Tampa Bay Lightning. You're back. You're good. Everything's going to be all right. You, Dave, Brian, we're all good.
We are all good. I think there will be a lot of the same people even now, of course, with this new deal being on the trip, we have some more flexibility. We're allowed to be more creative, perhaps trying to do things, making the shows a little different from game to game. So I'm really excited about that aspect. We haven't gotten together for any brainstorming sessions just yet, but my boss told me.
Gab, hold on, Gab. I'm going to take you out because I can't. You're going in and out audio wise. Hold on 1 second. Let me add the stage back. Are we on the phone or laptop?
I'm on phone.
Oh, there. That audio is better now, or whatever you just did right there. I think helped out. We good now?
Jay, we should probably do this on the computer every time.
It's okay. Maybe because sometimes you have an iPhone. Sometimes the audio is on the bottom. Maybe if we flip the camera, let's go. Sometimes the audio is
a weird black box.
Let me see. I don't know why I'm turning my head, acting like that's going to do anything.
Well, aren't I? I'm sideways though now.
I know, but sometimes it usually corrects itself. All right, go back to the vertical. That's all right. We'll make it work.
This is really good. You should see the janky setup I have to try to make my phone with me.
It's good. It works now. All right. So again, so you're coming back, everything, and you said a lot of the kind of the same people will be involved, right?
Yeah, same people. Hopefully, a revamped show.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Are you in the same boat as I when you look at like hockey that's going on right now, and you're like, I'm jealous. I'm jealous right now. I wish the season was still going.
Yes, but I tried to like flip it, Jay, because I will just
right.
So.
Yeah. And it's just so wild too, like to be able to, it's just like, I know Eric Erlandson talks about this all the time. There's such a finality of it, right? Because playoffs are like go, travel back and forth, and then it just stops. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with like the suddenness of everything just completely stopping after you've been in a routine for months?
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. My go-to phrase that my husband hears from me the night after the final game is that I feel so lost. I feel so lost. I don't know what to do with myself. But again, it's good being here at Amalie Arena. All my coworkers are in, and we're just looking ahead already, Jay. Different projects, different ways we can improve, brainstorming things. So I'm actually pretty busy, which probably is a first since I've been with the Tampa Bay Lightning, just trying to do different things.
Are you guys going to continue to do the Bolts beginnings?
Yes, we are. We're hoping to do 3 this summer. I won't give away any players, destinations, hometown quite yet, but yeah, there are 3, maybe there are 4 guys on Brian Breesman's whiteboard in his office, and we're going to try to hit 3 of them.
Nice. I know one guy was bringing it up, and I'm like, you can't say that out loud because people are going to tweet it out. and it's not guaranteed yet. And I was like, stop talking. And I probably know what I'm talking about. He talks a lot. But I'm like, we're not yet. We have to. He's like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, we'll talk about it later. I was like, I don't make the decisions, but don't pray because somebody else is going to tweet it out. He's like, all right, we got it. I was like, don't ruin the surprise for everybody. You don't want to ruin the surprise. I mean, every time. But what is that like, Gab? I know we've talked about this before, but I mean, you're traveling across the world. It's not like you're traveling. I mean, to go to these places, to go to Victor Hedman's house, like, I mean, what is that like? Do you ever just kind of sit there and go, I cannot believe I'm in Victor Hedman's living room?
Yeah, every single time. It's so much fun just getting to see the guys in that setting where they're most comfortable, where they're from, with their family and friends. And then, for example, Victor Hedman, like all of us were touring like a brand new country. Like none of us had been to Sweden before. No, I don't think any of us had been. So even that, just seeing these incredible sights. We visited his parents' home where he grew up. And then we also went to his like island home. So we were on his boat. Like it was just like, you just want to take every single photo, like every second you want to capture in a photo.
What a great guy too. And what did you notice this year, Gab, with him as the captain? Because, obviously, big shoes to fill. His best friend, Steven Stamkos, it was, kind of strange throughout the year. I think we got used to it as the year went on a little bit because, change is just part of life. But I know very early on, it was just strange. Like Stammer was that guy. He was around for so long. What did you notice from Victor Hedman as far as him? Because I think he just did an incredible job. I mean, he was a captain even when Stammer was there, like just an incredible leader, and as great of a person or great of a player as he is on the ice, he's a better human being off of it. What did you notice as far as like from your perspective, just his growth and him and his role as captain?
Jay, I don't know if you felt the same way because I was paying extra special attention to Victor Hedman this season, but what I saw, if you had asked him, like, how was it? We did a couple interviews for Recharge, our behind the scenes show after the end of the season. And we asked him about his first year with the C. And he said kind of what I feel and I observed that like, yeah, it was great, but I didn't really try to change much. Like I still be myself, stay true to myself, work hard for my teammates, be there for my teammates. But I didn't change much. And
Right.
that's, I feel that, Jay, right? Maybe we heard from him a bit more in the absence of Steven Stamkos, and he was even more of one of the go-to guys after a tough game or after a huge win. But he was pretty steady, which is exactly Victor Hedman. Steady, classy, and we all know what he does on the ice.
Yeah, and I think Ryan McDonough coming back helps too, right? You'd be able to kind of take and alleviate some of that pressure off of him. And it's, it as well as I do, Gab. Like after a loss, it's tough to be in there, especially, after the season's over. And the guys that stand up and speak after those games like that, like it's just, I mean, you take your hat off to them because we have a job to do. They have a job to do. Nobody, I think, in our Tampa Bay media are ever really painting these guys into a corner and making them feel bad. We don't have any gotcha journalists in Tampa where it's like, aha, you said that. And I think that that feeling is reciprocated from McDonough and Hedman, right? They're always just like, hey, we got a job to do, answer the questions, they're in and out. I want to ask you about some of the young guys and the growth. Gage Gonsalves is a guy that I look at, and he is a guy sent down, back up, sent down, back up. And man, by the end of the year, I thought he was one of the better players on the team. What did you notice from a young guy like that where, we forget sometimes that these guys they're human beings too. And it can't be easy to be able to be like, all right, well, hey, this is your dream, but you're going to have to go down to the AHL and work on your craft. Maybe you'll come back up. I thought that kid passed with flying colors. I'm excited to see what his future's all about.
Jay, me too. He is just a phenomenal individual. And yes, we saw his hockey skill this season specifically. Right, Jay? Him and Connor Geek have a lot of similarities.
Right.
Playing with the Tampa Bay Lightning for a while, then being sent down to the AHL, then coming back and having an immediate impact, especially on the score sheet. But Gage Gonsalves, right, making his NHL debut. I got to meet his mom and dad. I met his sister. She was in Vegas when we were there this season. I hung out with her for a bit. So, right, Jay, more than just the hockey player, like I am just such a fan of the person that he is. He is just phenomenal, always willing to chat, always so nice, so happy. I hear it, or I can see these things. I've experienced them. And then I hear it from, for example, like our equipment staff. They also say great things about him, you know, and it's just so nice to have a character individual like that. And so nice to see him really make an impact this season.
I saw Anthony Sorelli out doing something in the community yesterday. What was he doing out there?
Ooh, Jay, stand by for some more videos from that lovely visit.
Nice.
He supports pediatric cancer. He does that throughout the season, donating tickets, and then meeting with families and kids affected by cancer during the regular season. So in this off season, he went along with Mitchell Chafee to the Children's Cancer Center, and they played ball hockey with the kids. They signed autographs, took photos, gave them their jerseys. Like, it was a whole shebang. I think they were scheduled to be there for about an hour, and I don't think we left before we were there for 2 hours. Like, it was so much fun. You guys were awesome with the kids.
Listen, these guys are phenomenal athletes, and this team has been good for a long time, Gab. But you in your position and you know, you've entrenched yourself within the organization now. You just, like, you're one of the staples. You're one of the faces of the Bolts. The people. Tell me about the people that make up this Tampa Bay Lightning organization. I'm talking more about the players than anything, because I know this is one thing that Julian Breezeball, when he acquires a player, it's so important to him. It's not about just the guy on the ice. It's about who they are as a human being off of it. There's a type of profile of a player and the type of human being that they bring in here. In your experience, like, how have you seen, like, because you've seen now that you've been there for a couple seasons, guys come and go. So you've kind of seen, like, all right, this is the type of human being, this is the type of person. If somebody asks you, like, what type of person is a Tampa Bay Lightning player, what would you say?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard, because I feel like you take every positive adjective and that would be applicable to the Lightning cast of players. You know, I guess even just from the example of a few nights ago when we were at the Children's Cancer Center, I guess, Jay, I would start by saying the guys didn't have to show up. They did not have to go. It's their off season. Whether they're in town, obviously they had to be in town, but in town or not, like, they're busy. But they show up, and gosh, it would be really crazy if someone showed up and, like, just couldn't melt and fall in love with these kids because they were so cute. But our guys were there, and they are engaging conversations. Anthony Sorelli's bending over to tie a kid's shoe. Mitchell Chafee's having a group huddle, naming their team Thunderbugs. They're all ice cream popsicles afterwards. They're writing inspirational messages on this wall that's inside the building, giving kids their jersey, like, just on and on and on, just going above and beyond. And maybe that's the phrase right there. Like, obviously class acts, but also they just continually go above and beyond, whether that's in the gym, on the ice, in the community. Like, maybe that's the phrase that I would go with if I only had to pick one.
Yeah, no, I like it. And I truly believe that's why people love the Lightning so much. And the success is great. You have top tier players, but just feel like the human beings, like, there's a relatability to these guys. Like, you mentioned Anthony Sorelli bending down to tie a kid's shoe. Like, just that doesn't surprise you, right? Like, it doesn't surprise you because of knowing who he is and seeing where he's come from and his family. And, you know, again, it sucks that the season's over because you just want to be around these guys more. You know, what about a guy like Jake Guentzel? I think he's a guy who, for many years, playing with top tier players, you know, and he's a quieter guy. But what have you learned about a guy like Jake Guentzel this year? Because, I mean, his hockey IQ is through the roof. I mean, just an incredible hockey player. But what is it about Jake Guentzel? Because I remember before the season when we were there at Amalie, when, you know, they were revealing the jersey sponsors, and you had a couple of the guys up there on the stage with you, and Jake was one of them. What did you learn about him in year one with the Bolts?
Jay, he doesn't like doing interviews. I've learned that.
Not a big fan, huh?
I'm hearing about it hours before. I'm hearing about it days later, how he's done for the season. It's game one. I do an interview with him, and he said, "That's it. I'm done." He's a very funny guy. He makes me laugh. But Jay, yes, you mentioned that hockey IQ, and I feel like I'm still learning the intricacies of the game. It's such an incredible sport, and I'm just amazed every single game I watch. But I also feel like he's just obsessed with hockey. And perhaps you can say that about any player, but for him to just be so smart, like he's so passionate, like that, right? It's the mind, but it comes from the love for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to just fit right in with the Tampa Bay Lightning locker room. I had no doubts, but he was way better than expected on the ice and off the ice as well.
Yeah, and listen, for a guy like that, and you talk about a guy like loving the game, there's no surprise that he was able to have such a great chemistry with Nikita Kucherov on the ice. It seemed like he has chemistry with everybody in Kuch as well, but those guys and just that dogged determination. And then, from exit interviews, a couple weeks ago, and Nikita Kucherov talking about, hey, I'm going to take a week off and then I'm back on the ice. Like, Kuch is really just a different kind of guy when it comes to his work ethic. And man, just another incredible season. And listen, the playoffs are another discussion, I think, for everybody. But offensively throughout the regular season, leading the whole entire league in points, to be able to watch Nikita Kucherov do what he does on the ice. To get that close, to be able to see it on the road when not many people from Tampa are there. What is it like to be able to see so many games throughout the season and just to know that guy that wears 86 for the Lightning, he's on that short list of being one of the best players on the planet?
Jay, I'm just constantly in awe, and every single time he is on the ice, with or without the puck, like eye is going to 86 just to see what he does next. And he said as much, Jay, in that exit interview, but I was at the Tampa Bay Lightning practice facility just yesterday, and you know who was there getting ready to go out on the ice.
So he's already there. He's already on the ice in Brandon practicing.
Oh yes. Everyone on media was calling it Cooch Camp or Camp Cooch, the way you want to go with it, with 2 Ks. But yes, he's already out there practicing in preparation for next season.
Was anybody else out there?
I did not see anyone else, Jay, but also in respect for Nikita Kucherov, because we know how he feels about media, I didn't even pop my head out. I just saw him in the back hallways and said my hello and got out there.
He's already on the ice.
But yeah.
Oh, man, it's so crazy, man. But I'm not surprised. You can't be surprised, right? Like, he's on another level. Unbelievable. So other than like the Lightning, people want to know, like, what's Gabby Shirley's off season like now? You going on vacation? You going traveling? What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, Jay. Thank you for asking. Okay, well, I'm going to pump my soon-to-be social media series that's coming out right here. I think you might be the first one outside of this building to hear about it. My coworkers are sick and tired of hearing about it, but hopefully in the coming days, this has been keeping me busy. A little bit of going back to my roots, Jay, in storytelling. I'm going to put out a little series called Shirley You Didn't Know, and basically just explain fun facts, answer questions about something tied to this organization, whether it's hockey related on the ice, community hockey, you name it. So I've been working on that this off season, aka why I've been a bit busy, because I'm trying to film, write, edit all of it, back to my one-man band days.
So you're filming this?
And by filming, Jay, like my cell phone right here.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I think people want to know, like, because the Lightning do such a great job, and we know what Mikey and Gabe and the entire crew do over there, just like top notch. Emmy winners. So this is like a one-man band thing for you, huh? Like, tell us like what it's going to be. Like, it's recorded on the phone. Where's it going to be? When can we find it?
And I should take that back. I cannot actually take all the credit. There is a lady that works in our social media department. Her name's Cassie, and she's going to help me like just shoot some of the stuff that would look better if I'm not selfieing it,
Mm-hmm.
So she's been with me too, and I think her editing skills are probably a bit better than mine, so she might be adding to it. But I think it's going to be on all platforms, Instagram Reels, X, TikTok, maybe our website, maybe YouTube. So look out for that. So that's really fun.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
So that's my main like work focus, Jay. And then obviously with us going to Scripps, there has been a lot of fun things around that, just as far as announcements, different interviews I've been doing. So that's really exciting. And then vacation, I have a couple planned, but the biggest one, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm not going with my husband. He did not want to go, which is shocking still to me. I'm going with my best friend to Africa.
Whoa, where in Africa?
We are going, and I've like booked flights and like paid money, and I need to like actually look. We're going to Tanzania and Kenya, I believe, and we're going on safaris.
Oh my gosh. My cousin went to Kenya on a safari for her 50th birthday and she loved it. You're going to love it. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm so excited. That's not till August, so I have plenty of time. Hopefully many Bolts Beginning shoots, many Shirley You Didn't Know episodes. But yeah, that's in August and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh my gosh, we cannot wait to live vicariously through you going on a safari. That is going to be so much fun. Gabby, you've done such a great job with the Tampa Bay lighting. And man, I know, and you don't like to talk about this because you're just like, hey, I'm living in the moment, but you are truly an inspiration to so many people here in the Tampa Bay area, and especially a lot of the young aspiring females that want to be in this business and want to work in sports. I see it all the time. And to see all the pictures that you post, and there's a lot of bad things about social media, and there's a lot of perils, and especially, you get people that say things that aren't appropriate or aren't nice or things like that. But some of the great things in social media is when I see some little girl love your jacket or love your outfit, and just they take a picture of you, like watching you on TV. I think one of these days you might look back on it and you, and just be like, I can't. It's just, I'm happy for you, and it's not even happening for me. Before I let you go, just talk about the love and support from Bolts Nation over the years, because you've really just left an indelible impression early on. You've only been here, doing it with them for a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, actually, Jay, I don't know if I feel like I've been here forever. No, I feel like I started yesterday, but already I just finished my 4th season, which is
yeah.
Right. But I guess, Jay, and I feel like I've said as much to you before, but I love this job so much. So I hope that shows through in whatever I am doing. And right by default, if you see someone with passion or just a love for whatever it is that they're all about, their job, whatever, that like that kind of, you feel that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's like what I hope. And I've seen like the love and support back, which is really, really nice. Social media, as I'm saying, I'm starting a series, Jay, like it's really not my jam, but I'm really trying to be better at it. I do enjoy interacting with the fans, which again, right, better way when especially the season's not happening right now. I'm not seeing them at the arena. Like what better way to do it? So, yeah, they've been absolutely great over the past 4 seasons. I'm so lucky to be in this position, and I'm so grateful for, again, their love and support.
You're the best, and great things happening to great people, and you are certainly one of the best. We will keep an eye on. What is it, Shirley?
Shirley, you didn't know.
Shirley, you didn't know. I love this. Make sure you follow her on all social media platforms. Gabby_Shirley_Shirley. You didn't know. I'm sure I'll talk to you before then, but have a great time on the safari and all the other travels and escapades that you do across the world. So I tell people like, oh, yeah, have fun going across the country. Gabby is a world traveler. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Gabby Shirley? Somewhere she's going to pop up on a continent near you. Thank you very much, my friend, for your time. Have a great weekend. Talk soon.
Yes, Jay. Have me on again, please. I am available.
You're the best. Thanks, Gab.
Bye.
Bye. Come on. I mean, it doesn't get better than Gabby Shirley, right? I mean, great people, right? Great things happening to great people. And I remember having the discussion. Do I feel JR and Gabby show in the works? You guys we actually did a show together. This is funny. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Gabby and I used to do a show called Bolts Breakdown. Does anybody remember Bolts Breakdown? Bolts Breakdown was a show that we did. And real quick, I want to give you guys I'll give you guys an update on USF in a second. So there was an idea it was between iHeart and the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is when the Tampa Bay Lightning were on 970 WFLA under the iHeart banner. People would always ask, why isn't it on the sports station? Well, they wanted to make sure that their games were never preempted. And listen, if you're a radio station, it all comes down to numbers, right? And baseball is a sport that does extremely well on the radio, and there's 162 games, right? So think about that. So DAE smartly would prioritize the Rays, right? And that's why you see like 98 Rock. That's where, the Bucks, they used to be on 103.5. Now they're on 98 Rock. The Lightning would go to 970 WFLA, but it was all under the iHeart umbrella. So, there would be games and there would be shows and things like that. So they came up with an idea of wanting to do Bolts Breakdown. So what Bolts Breakdown was a show that we did every day live at noon. And it was me and Brian Burns. Now, we would either do it remotely or we would be at the arena, and it still comes up all the time. It still comes up all the time on my Facebook memories. Brian Burns and myself. And man, I remember one year we reached, I think it was 8 million people, we had 8 million views for that one season. What an incredible outpouring of support we got from around the world. It was pretty nuts to be able to see how many people tuned in. And we talked just, basic stuff, last game coming up. And it was just very interactive. We had a lot of people on the program. And then what ended up happening was that Burnsy got elevated. He went from the writer to one of the PR guys. And then Gabby got bumped up because Gabby came in as the team reporter. And then it was her and I. And then Gabby and I, we had so much fun. A lot of times we did it up in Emily Arena. We did it up top, kind of up in like kind of the 300 sections. It was a lot of fun. But then, unfortunately, at the time, they left. The relationship between the Tampa Bay Lightning and iHeart, it was done. And no more Bolts Breakdown. I know a lot of people are unhappy about that, myself included. And that's why you didn't hear me on the intermission anymore. That's why you didn't hear me on the post-game show, which sucked, It was like something I really enjoyed because I remember I used to do the last call with Bobby the Chief Taylor and Brian Engblom. I used to be on the intermission shows, used to be on the pregame show with Greg Linelli, and then we did Bolts Breakdown, and all of that gone, disappeared. Now, not only did it suck because I didn't get a chance to talk about the Lightning, but also it kind of hurt my checkbook too. That hurt my wallet, to be 100% transparent with you guys. But now I don't work at iHeart, so we'll see what the future holds. But yeah, the time that Gabby and I worked together on Bolts Breakdown was such a great time. And when Gabby worked with Channel 8, we were friends because she covered the Lightning as well as all the other teams in the Tampa Bay area. And I remember her and I were talking about just, our places in the media here in the Tampa Bay area and what we wanted to do. And, there was a little bit, and she's talked about this before, some a little frustration on her behalf. Like, what am I doing? Am I on the right path? Well, looks like Gabby took the right path because now after 4 years with the Tampa Bay Lightning, it's amazing to see her growth and to see kind of the maturation and her being in this business and flourishing and being part of such an incredible organization. So really, really good stuff there. Shout out to Craig, FSC, and UT on a collision course for Super Regional next week. I know, brother. Florida Southern and the University of Tampa. I'm going to do my best to be there no matter what, depending on what goes on with my schedule. Yesterday, UT baseball won. UT softball lost. USF baseball lost last night 5-1 to ECU. I'll be back on the call today. 6:30 game tonight. Pregame starts at 6:20 on USF Bulls Unlimited. USF softball right now against Auburn. They were down 5-0. And double play. Nice there to end the second inning. What a play. Kathy Garcia Soto to Alana Rivera to Camille Ortiz Martinez, and Ann Long gets out of it. Peyton Dixon got the start. She gave up 5. I think she gave up 5. But the Bulls answer back with 2. So it's 5-2 as we head to the third inning up there in Tallahassee for the regional. What a double play. I mean, this USF defense, unbelievable. Got to feel good for our girls. Got to feel good for Ken Erickson. Coach Steve Bradley is going to be joining us here momentarily. I just want to bring up the make sure I have that. There's so many different games going on today. Let Let's see. Where's Auburn at? Oh, here we go. It's funny. So I go to interview Coach Mitch Hannes yesterday. Oh, wait. What's going on here? Am I behind? I am behind. Hold on, folks. It's 5-4. Okay. It's 5-4, top of the third. Alana Rivera on the mound. All right. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Josie Foreman with a 2-run ding-dong. Let's go. Okay. So after giving up 5 runs in the first inning, a double, a single, and a home run to put the Bulls down 5-0, a 2 RBI single from Kathy Garcia Soto in the second, a 2-run home run from Josie Foreman there in the third, 5-4, top of the third, 1 out. One thing we know is that this USF team is not going to give in, not one bit. You should get Nigel on the show. He's been with the Bolts since day one, started in marketing, would be the best stories ever. You know Nigel and I are good friends, right? Nigel will be on the program at some point. Thank you, Craig. And that's a good reminder, Craig, because actually Nigel was going to join me. I'm glad that you brought this up, Craig. Good job, buddy. So I was talking to Nigel because I talked to Nigel a bunch, and his brother Andre too. Great guy. Andre's awesome. I was actually talking to Nigel a couple of weeks ago about. He always wants to talk about we rarely talk about the. We rarely talk about the Lightning. We always talk about the Bucks or the Ray. We're always talking about something else. Because Nigel used to be a ball boy for the Bucks back in the day. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I met Nigel. I don't know if I met Nigel through the Lightning or Ian, because Nigel was a ball boy for the Bucks when Ian was on the Bucks. So like there'll be times where we're at the Dignitary Cafe watching the game, and Nigel walks in and he'll watch the Bucks game with us. So, and again, go check out our friends at the Dignitary Cafe, 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard. But yeah, Nigel will definitely join us at some point here in the off season. Stories for days. What a great guy. And he's been through it all. And talking to Ian, and we'll bring it up next week on the podcast. Ian and I will talk about Nigel. He was talking about a guy like John Tortorella and how much respect he has for Nigel. And Nigel was out there running practice and things like that. I'm like, oh, okay. Jason Lauren's daughter is at Mercer playing at UF today. Oh, that's awesome. Jason is the arena voice for USF Men's Hoop. Good friend of mine. That's great, man. That's awesome. We love to see good things happen in the Tampa Bay area. I know earlier today, the Wharton Wildcats baseball team, they were down there in Fort Myers. Unfortunately, they lost in the state semifinals. I know there's a lot of other teams here in the Bay Area that are playing in the semis. So best of luck to everybody out there. And, you know, if you win a state championship, you know what that means. You're probably going to be a guest on the Jay Recher podcast at some point. Shout out to Alonzo and Jesuit. There's a couple other teams too. Bloomingdale. Really, really good stuff. Shout out to the big dog again. We remembered the big dog a little bit earlier. 6 years since his passing. Thank you to Robert Cochran and John Momola for joining us on the program today. Rays in action tonight. I was going to mention this before, but we ended up just talking about the big dog, which there's no problem with that. This is a pivotal weekend for the Rays down there in South Florida against the Marlins. All year long, people have just been waiting. All right, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? It's just like, all right. Is this team going to ever really live up to that expectation? Is that team ever going to? I hate the excuses. I hate if we did this or if we did that. I hate that. I don't care who it is. I'm not even just talking about the Rays. Just any team. It just makes my skin crawl. Like, you have to beat the teams that are in front of you. You have to take care of business. You have to battle through injuries. You cannot make excuses. When you're one of those people that are just constantly, that's what I said, like last week, I think it was, it's always a caveat. Like, I don't want to hear caveats. I don't want to hear like, if this or this should, or this would, or this could. I don't want to hear any of that. No thanks. Just go out there and perform. But we're going to hear people say, well, if Josh Lowe was healthy, or if Ha-Seong Kim can do this. All right. I want to see this team with those guys healthy and see if they can perform. And it starts this weekend with Josh Lowe being back. You have enough guys in this lineup going against this lowly Miami Marlins team. They're 16-26. Yesterday, Josh Lowe 3 for 5, Brandon Lau 3 for 5, B. Lau with the 2 home runs, Josh Lowe with a home run. You got Taj on the mound today, Drew Rasmussen tomorrow against Sandy Alcantara, and then you have Shane Baz on Sunday. The Rays need to sweep the Marlins this weekend. No excuses. No excuses. Yandy Diaz is back now. Jonathan Aranda swinging the bat. Lau, Lowe, Caminero. You got 5 guys now. We're not looking at a lineup like you've seen, even if you look at what we saw yesterday, okay, in the 8-3 win. We're not going to add Yandy because obviously he wasn't there. Lau, Lowe, Caminero, Aranda, those first 4. Bro, you're cooking. Danny Jansen's starting to swing the bat a little bit. Now you have Yandy Diaz. You have 6 guys. Chandler Simpson, that's 7 for an offense that's really been struggling. Now, if you add a Meisner and a Caballero, like, no excuse. This is the weekend. Step up. If you want people to take you serious, this is the weekend you take the step forward. When I crack this microphone on Monday, and I'm only going to be on air for about an hour 15 on Monday because Simeon Rice is going to get announced, and they're going to celebrate him at One Buccaneer Place. So I'll be over there at 1:30. So I got to cut out of here at 105, 110 at the latest. I got to be able to get over there. So just an hour show on Monday. But when I crack the microphone on Monday, the Rays better be 23-23. They need to sweep. Your pitching's lined up. Your offense is as healthy as it's been all year long. And I was going to, and Dave Terry said it, Yandy shit the bed by not getting his passport renewed. I was really going to get in. I was really going to get it in on Yandy. But when I got the note that Joe Madden was going to join us on Tuesday, I quickly pivoted. Because I am always going to err on the side of positivity, the negativity. I'm not a national TV guy where I have to say something crazy every single time. That's just so lazy and just disingenuous. But what I was going to say, and I'm not going to go full flamethrower on him right now, I don't care if it's Yandy. I don't care if it's the traveling secretary. I don't care if it's the Rays. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable that you're a team that is trying to compete in one of the best divisions in all of baseball, and one of your big-time players, one of your leaders, one of your offensive standouts on a team that really struggles swinging the bat cannot play north of the border. You are in the same division as the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't care what the logistics are. You're a professional athlete. You know traveling is part of the gig. This is something that needs to be taken care of well before the season is done. There's no excuse for things like that. There's too many, again, caveats when it comes to the Rays. Well, if this, or well, they couldn't do this, or they couldn't do that. Like, people are sick. There was a audible groan in the Bay Area when that news came out that Yandy Diaz couldn't go across the border. Come on, man. I don't care what the reason is. You're a professional athlete. You know, this isn't one of those things where, oh, yeah, you only play Toronto every 3 or 4 years. That's the only team there, blah, blah, blah. You're in the same division. You've been traveling Toronto every single year for as long as you've been with this team. This year is not going to be any different. And we've almost gotten like in the mode of like, we're just accepting. Whatever they say, whatever they do, we just have to accept it for what it is. Do you really? Maybe. But again, I've always said when it comes to the Rays, it's not always the quality of the issues, it's the quantity of the issues. Don't give people a reason to tune you out. Don't give people a reason that they don't want to support you. We've all gotten our passports renewed. We all know how long it takes. We all know, like, and a lot of times, right, it's a last second thing. I've actually literally had to drive down to Miami in one day and drive all the way back to be able to get my passport. But I'm not Yandy Diaz. I don't make millions of dollars. I don't have a professional sports franchise behind me. There's a lot of people willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that I can play north of the border. No more excuses. None. This team going forward, you're 20-23. This is a sweepable weekend. Again, your pitching's lined up. You got Taj, you got Drew, you got Shane Boss. Everything lines up perfectly for you. This will be the strongest offense that you've had all year long. No more excuses for the Rays. No, sir, not at all. All right, let's bring him in. One of my favorite coaches at USF. And you could tell everybody, Steve, because that's just going to piss everybody off. Ken, Jose, Brian, Golish, everybody. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm wonderful, man. I appreciate the kind words there. You put me on top of the list.
You're all the way at the top, my friend. How's the travel, man? You're back on East Coast time? You back to normal?
Yeah, I don't sleep very good to begin with. So going west and going east and going west, I got no idea what's going on. So I'm just happy that we're here for a couple days. We're gonna head back out on Tuesday to California. So awesome time to be part of USF men's golf, and looking forward to coaching these guys to compete in the national championship.
Steve, I was looking at some of the stuff today because I don't need a bio because we've known each other for years now, but it's just like, dude, you've been here 11 years. Do you ever just think about that? You're here for more than a decade. Does it seem like it's flown by? Does it seem like yesterday? What does it feel like?
Well, when I'm sitting here looking at some photos of what I looked like 11 years ago, it does feel like a long time ago, but it is gone by very fast. We've had a lot of success here, had a lot of great players come through the program. And as you look at these memories, and we sharing some stories at dinner the other night with the team, and even just like Christmas parties and events and gatherings and things we've done, like you look at the previous players and the laughs that we had. I mean, it's gone by so fast.
You should have, man, I wish you were obviously you were busy because you were on the course with the guys, but Derek Sharp and I, we're trading texts back and forth. We're following you guys. It was so funny. I'm like, hear this. And he's like, well, this guy did this and this. And it was just, what was it about that last day for you guys to really like kick it into gear? Because it was like a little bleak and we're like, I don't know what it, and you kind of start looking around. It just seemed like, I don't know what it was, what you guys had for breakfast that morning. What was it that really kind of turned the tide that just said, hey, like, we're not taking any prisoners. We're going to the national championships?
Yeah, I think it actually kind of dates back a couple weeks earlier at the conference championship, and that left a sour taste in our mouth. We lost in a playoff to Charlotte. Don't feel like we played our best coming down the stretch there, and kind of gave it to them. Probably one of the more disappointing, if not the most disappointing finish and feeling that we had in my 11 years here at USF, and kind of letting one slip away. I think the first two rounds, we kind of gave up a couple shots in our final stretch of holes, 7 through 9, both rounds 1 and 2, knowing that we were playing better than our scores would indicate. And so I think that the golf course set up pretty good for us the final round. It got a little softer. We had a little rain, a little typical Seattle weather there with some mist, and it softened it up a little bit, and we played the golf course in a different way. So knowing that if we didn't play 7, 8, 9 great, that we had the back nine, which we had played pretty well all week, to kind of make up some ground there. And we played 7 through 9 pretty solid. And then I think we played the final 8 holes over there, 7 under par, for us to punch our ticket. And the guys really played incredible down the stretch. When the pressure was on, they could see the leaderboard. We were playing with Utah. Utah was making a run. South Carolina was in front of us, so we can kind of see what they posted. And we couldn't control what anybody else was doing, right. But the guys just put their head down, and they finished strong, and it was extremely satisfying to watch as a coach, for sure.
Yeah, I think college golf is so intriguing to me because we get so locked into the PGA Tour, and I was talking to my cousin because he was a master caddy up in Mamaroneck and Wingfoot up in New York, and just talking to him, he was there and he was able to watch Rory at the Masters, and he was like, Jay was like so locked in, he wasn't talking, and even DeChambeau was like, yeah, he didn't say 2 words to me. Right. And there's such a singular focus, and if you're not getting a rule verified or anything, you're talking to your caddy maybe, and that's it. But for the collegiate level, like, it's a little different. Like, you're there, like, how do you kind of find that balance of knowing when to maybe give some more information and when to hang back, because that's just one guy. I mean, you got to understand the characteristics and the personalities of each of the guys on your team, right?
Yeah, you bring up a great point. And every player and every team is different. So this starting 5, we had the last couple events, excuse me, since about the first part of March. Wilhelm Riding, who is our 3rd best player, I think he's ranked about 105 in the country. I've walked with him every round since the beginning part of March. And Coach Caldwell, our associate head coach, has done a phenomenal job kind of managing the other four guys. So if you look at Nino, Nino doesn't like a whole lot of interaction on the golf course. He likes to kind of do his own thing, play his own game plan. Obviously, we strategized the night before about that stuff, but he just kind of wants to do his own thing. Cooper, very similar to Nino. So if you notice, we kind of put them out in the 4 and 5 slot. They go out first. I kind of go in the 3rd slot with Wilhelm, and then Shuby and Jake in the 1 and 2 slot. And they probably get more coaching interaction with Coach Caldwell than anybody else, just because of the way we've got it set up with the dynamics and the personality. And it seems to work for us this year. Next year, we're going to have, a bunch of new guys. We're losing 3 seniors. And so that strategy could ultimately change as well. And, we have to adapt to their personalities and what we feel is best for them and how we can help them on the golf course. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do is help them play the best game they can. And you're playing for a team, but one of the things we talked about the night before the final round was this was not about the logo that you're playing for on your chest. This is about you playing for yourself individually. And if you do your job, the team will succeed. And, I think sometimes they get into, they're worried about, letting their teammates down, and then they don't perform to the best of their ability. So we wanted them to play for themselves that final round, and the team succeeded.
What do you think it is about your personality, Coach, that has allowed you to have such a success? It's such a unique, sport. Again, it's very individualized, for a lot of different, but colleges, again, it's just fascinating to me. What do you think it is about, whether it was your upbringing, whether it's about, where you coached before here, but what has allowed you to have so much success in South Florida?
I appreciate you saying that. I think the first thing you do is you got to have, when you're recruiting, you got to bring in the right guys that mesh with your personality. Not only from a talent level point of view, but I think the thing that we're most proud of at USF is the guys have developed over their course of their career, whether they come in as freshmen and leave 4 years later, or you get a transfer like a Jake Peacock or a Cooper Smith, that you just continue to get better through the time in our system. So I don't know if there's anything about me that's flashy. I mean, I grew up playing golf. My dad was my role model, my idol. He was very hard on me, but he also knew when to put his arm around me and tell me that he was proud of me and he loved me. I think my philosophy is very similar. We hold them to a high standard and expectation of what the success we've had around here. We hold them accountable, but also at times they need to know that they are loved and supported regardless of the score that they shoot. And I just have tried to mimic that from what I've seen growing up. My golf coach, Buddy Alexander at Florida, very much a second father to me, very hard on me, very disciplined. But at the end of the day, I knew he had my back and he wanted the best thing for me. And I think that we try to do the same thing here at USF.
I asked Coach Ken earlier this week before, and 5-4, which is good. I'm 5-4. We're inching away. It was 5-0. But I asked Coach Ken, I go, what is that like? Because I was at the games last week, and I said, Ken, what is it like? You have like Alex Golsh's in the front row, Brian Hodgins walking around, coaches are everywhere. And he goes, it's just, if you're a coach here, like we all support. Like Michael Kelly sets the tone of like, this isn't like, because he goes, it's not always like this. He's like, there's programs around the country where this coach is here and they're not coming out of their office, and this coach here and there's not much interaction. You've been there over a decade now, Steve. I mean, what is that like to be able to see men's side, women's side, bigger sports, smaller sports, and everybody just kind of being on the same page, everybody pulling the rope, everybody supporting each other?
It's phenomenal. And we have a group head coach text that Michael is on. And, we were watching Ken's team for the conference championship, and they were in a weather delay, and we're on the golf course, and we're trying to figure out how we can finish this thing off. And, when Jose won the conference championship, instantly, everyone's blowing it up, and the group text things that it's awesome because, we are a little siloed over here at the golf course. And so sometimes that is my connectivity to the world at USF. Right. But it's incredible because we all understand that what our roles are here, and the better that our program is, the more it elevates our university, our athletic department, the more that helps our chances of continuing to be recruited, and not only for the individual sports, but, we're all pulling for each other because we all benefit from the success of everybody else has, whether you believe it or not. The more visibility USF athletics has, the more that helps our chances of getting top tier talent here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And who knows, like conference realignment, like that's just, it's inevitable. I think power super conferences is going to be all split up. Like that's all out of everybody's hands. But the way the NCAA is, like, it's just an ever changing landscape. I got to ask you about Jake Peacock, man. I mean, this is a kid that, I interviewed him last year, and this is a guy that, man, that's the big birdie that he had there on 18. Like, I mean, where does he, and I don't want you to, it's almost like, tell me who your favorite child is, but like, where does he rank, like, as far as some of the best players that you've coached at USF? I mean, he's got to be near the top.
Yeah, he's done an unbelievable job of just continuing to get better. He does things a little unique. He's not very technical. He's very feel oriented. Especially around the greens. He's the best putter I've ever coached at any college. And it's just off the charts, and how he can read greens, match up his speed, the confidence he has in those things. And I think that's a large part of the reason he's had the success he's had. He's gotten to be a lot better ball striker, thinker on the golf course, controlling his emotions has been a huge key for him to the success he's had. But, probably between Chase Koepka, who was a 3-time All-American for us, Albin Bergstrom, very similar. Jake has now had 4 tournament wins, which is the most in program, or ties for the most in program history. He knows where he sits in USF golf program history. I think he wants to continue to add to that legacy next week at the NCAA championship. But he's just done a phenomenal job for us, and trusted us when we had graduated Albin. We had a transfer leave that we thought was going to stay. And he came in, and that first year he was here, we were not very good. And all the guys, Shuby, Jake, have just done an incredible job to go where we were 3 years ago, after being at a national championship, to now back being there. It's an incredibly rewarding thing for those guys. Add Cooper to that, being a senior. For them that are last year to make it to the national championship and compete, that's the right way to go out, and I'm extremely happy for them.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And when you look at these next couple of days, what is it like? I mean, as we're looking at everything that's going on, and you're at what's the mindset? Is it more physical preparation, mental preparation? Like, how do these guys get locked in? What's your role over these next couple of days as we get closer and closer to going back to the West Coast?
Right. Yeah. I think we got a couple guys have a little sickness from the cold Seattle weather, to be honest with you, some wetness in the air. So we're trying to get them healthy with our sports med staff. Today's just kind of a light practice. We're going to play on Saturday and Sunday. We'll have practice on Monday, practice early Tuesday morning, and then fly out Tuesday afternoon. Got a place to play out there on Wednesday. And then official practice round begins on Thursday, with play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hopefully Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and come back with the national championship. So it's a lot of golf. I think, if anything, you're trying to not overdo it, right? I think we've prepared enough through the course of the last 9 months. We played a golf course in Washington that is very similar to what we'll see in California in regards to the firmness, the type of grass. Time zone, Pacific Coast time zone, temperature-wise, pretty similar, 60 to 70 degrees. Very much what we saw. So, like, I feel very good where we are, not only from a confidence point of view, but from a preparation point of view. I think my job and Coach Caldwell's job is just not to stress them out at this particular point, to kind of keep them light, try to keep them prepared and fresh as can be.
So how does it break down, as like, for people that don't know, like, if they're trying to follow along with everything, how does it break down as far as players, how they compute the score? Because again, everybody, even just the casual golf fans, they're just going to look at it and be like, well, I know that it's just one player, and maybe they'll know how, like, the Ryder Cup works or things like that. How do they compute the scores? Let everybody know how, like, college golf works, because just a player doesn't win it, it's the team.
Yes, absolutely. And they are competing for an individual national championship, but the truth is, we all want to be there as a team and compete as a team, and that's where the success is. So the 5 guys compete each day. The low 4 scores each round count. So, for instance, if you look at regionals. Wilhelm was the high man the first round. He didn't count. The other guys did. And in the final round, Wilhelm was low for us, shot 66. And Cooper Smith was a high man and didn't count. So each day the team score changes based off of who the low four scores are. When we get to the national championship, we will compete on Friday. We'll compete on Saturday. We'll compete on Sunday. And then after that, they cut from 30 teams to 15 teams. And those 15 teams will then compete on Monday. And then after that, the top 8 advance to match play. And we were fortunate enough to do that back in 2015 when USF hosted a concession. We finished 6th in the stroke play portion and ultimately lost to Georgia in the first round of match play. But that's the goal for us every year. Certainly our goals are still in front of us. You want to get there, and we're getting there. And then from then on, we just got to go play our golf. I mean, if you look at our results this past year, the success we've had low round of the day in about 6 tournaments we've played in. And so, our good is really good. We just got to get that consistency and controlling our emotions out there. And I'm confident that we can do that when the national championship's on the line.
So you said it goes down to 8 teams and then it's match play from there.
Yeah.
So then it's match play from there. And then how do you compute the team record then?
So it's just so Jake would play the number 1 guy from another team, Shooty play the number 2 guy from another team, and then you just win or lose that match. And so all 5 matches count. So then you get to like the Ryder Cup or the President Cup. Exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so awesome. So then it'll be 5-on-5. So then it's 5-on-5 then.
Exactly.
So then there's no
straight. So I make an 8 and you make a 4. I only lose the hole, and I don't lose 4 shots to you. I just lose the hole and we go to the next one. So it really becomes a different mentality, which is the cool thing about match play.
So that's the thing too, coach, is like if you get to a point where, man, your 4 low guys are crushing it, and that 5th guy, if you get to match play, that guy's gotta pick it up, man. Because if not, like you're in essence throwing one away, right?
Right, exactly. And as crazy thing is, a couple of years ago, they're now allowing substitutions in golf where you can't do it in the regular season, you can do it in the postseason. But Bo Hostler, who's on PGA Tour for Texas, injured his shoulder, couldn't compete in the finals of the national championship. So he lost his match by default because they couldn't sub at the time. So I mean, crazy, but yeah, it's a different mentality when you get in match play, because then it's mano a mano, and it really doesn't have anything to do with golf as much as you're playing that individual, and your course management changes based off of what they're doing. It's really a different scenario.
So how many guys do you go out there with for the team?
So we'll take 6. We take 1 sub. Matthew Joseph is a true freshman for us. He's been in and out of the 5-hole, played in a lot of tournaments as an individual, won a D2 event this past year as an individual. Have a ton of confidence in him. If somebody gets injured, gets sick, whatever may be, that he's going to be able to step in. But yeah, we'll travel with 6. Coach Caldwell and myself is 8. We got some administrative and some support staff going out. Jim Fee, Stephen Galvin, Nick Kelcourse. They were all our good luck charms out at regionals in Seattle. So we're getting the band back together. We're bringing them out to California too.
I feel like I'm very comfortable when Jim Fee's around. It's one of those things where like Jim Fee's the last person you see when you're leaving the baseball and softball complex. Jim Fee's at the football stadium. I feel a lot safer when Jim Fee's around. Do you get that same sentiment?
He's the hardest worker in our athletic department. It's unbelievable. That there's nothing that he hasn't thought of already.
Right.
So I think that's a sense of comfort that you have in knowing that he's thought about everything. The preparation is there. In Seattle, he did a great job. He kind of knows to stay out of the way. He's the former golf coach here. He understands our needs, what the pressure's like, understands the student athletes. It's been great having him be our sport administrator. He really looks out for us.
Well, you would have been very proud of me. I played some golf with my dad and my brother 2 weeks ago on, I think it was a reunion course in Kissimmee, the Watson course. And I chipped in from 45 yards out. It was pretty wild.
Look at you. Look at you.
I know. It was my birthday. It felt good. And then we played another local course, National Oaks. And I think I made like a 40-foot putt on 18 for a birdie. So I was like,
you want to come out? You want to come out to practice here? We get ready for national championship and maybe give some short game tips.
Oh my gosh, no, because you don't want to look at the rest of the card because the rest of the card's got a bunch of scribbles on it. But Coach, we got to get out there when the season's over. You and I, when the weather gets a little cooler, and you got to give me some pointers. But hey, man, I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. You guys have just absolutely crushed it, and yeah, man, you were a great guy, great coach, and man, the Bulls, the program right now is just at a high, and just so many different athletic programs. Like I just feel like I'm having this conversation with so many different coaches, with Michael Kelly leading the way. I mean, lastly, just talk about him and just where the athletic program as a whole is right now. Because I've been saying this for the last 3 or 4 years. Like you want to get on board with USF if you haven't, because it's coming. It's coming if it's not already here.
It's an unbelievable time within USF and USF athletics, and it starts with Michael Kelly. You're exactly right. I mean, I think that the thing that every coach knows about him is he cares about us. He cares about our families, cares about our kids. He was relaying a story after a conference. He called me and knew I was, pretty upset, and he was kind of talking about a story that my oldest daughter, Campbell, he's like, she said, I'm rooting for them, but ultimately at the end of the day, I want them to get to a regionals because I want to go to California and miss some school. So ironic. I mean, we get done. And he's like, congratulations. Now you can tell your daughter Campbell that she's missing school and going to California. So like he's in on that. And I, as a father, him being a father, and, he just cares, and you can tell he cares. And that's true leadership. It's amazing.
Sorry.
Did we just score?
Turn around. 2-run home run, baby.
Let's go Bulls.
6-5. All right, Coach.
That.
Go ahead. Go watch the rest of the game. I'm only going to be on for like 3 or 4 minutes so I can watch the rest of the game. Best of luck,
man.
I'll talk to you in a couple of days, man. Best of luck. We'll talk soon.
Hey, you keep doing you, Jay. I'm proud of you, man. Keep it up, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. The one and only Coach Steve Bradley. You are the man. Thanks, Coach. You are the best. I love that guy. He is the man. My favorite coach at USF. Everybody gets so mad every time I say that. Like, they're like, who's your favorite coach at USF? I'm like, it's Coach Steve, easily. They're like, what the hell, man? They get pissed. I'm like, too bad, man. It's my guy. Yes. And David Terry, 45-yard chipping and a 40-foot putt. Sign him up. Listen, dude, those are the 2 best shots. And it's funny because we played 36 holes, me, my dad, my brother-in-law. And I think my dad had the low score the first time, I had the second time. But we didn't hit many like bombs. But there was 2 bombs, and I hit both of them. And my brother was like, "It is your birthday, 40th birthday." But the chip in was, both of them had neither one of them was straight. Each one of them had a little bit of a curve to it, which was great, man. Because I don't play much golf, but I got clubs for my birthday and Christmas, so I got to get out there with Coach Steve as well. But man, how about those Bulls? Josie Foreman with a 2-run home run. That young lady, and we've had her on the show as well. How about our Bulls, man? Down 5-0. They're up 6-5 in the top of the 5th. Alana Rivera at the plate. Josie Foreman with her second 2-run home run. She hit one to right center. She hits another one to left center. It doesn't get better than the green and gold, and I can't say it enough. The advantage, the disadvantage of, being on radio, and it's like, you want to talk about USF and blah, blah, blah. Talk about give a shit. I'm here. This is the Jay Recher Podcast, man. We're talking USF athletics. This is what we're all about. Tampa. This is Tampa's show. This is Tampa's show right here. The Jay Recher Podcast. No doubt about it. Tonight, Game 6, Knicks, Celtics, Maple Leafs, Panthers. Who's staying alive? Who's going to survive? Who's going home? I think they're both done. Boston, done. Maple Leafs, done. One is a champion. One's a paper champion. I got all the respect in the world for the Boston Celtics and everything that they've done. Champions, the way that they were able to bounce back after losing Jason Tatum to the injury, sharing the basketball, all these false narratives about, they're better without Jason Tatum. Can we not hate on Jason Tatum? This is an all-NBA player. This is a guy that's one of the best players in all of basketball. This is a champion. Let's not hate on this guy. They won 1 game. They won Game 5. Okay, at home. They're champions. They were at home. They're the heart of a champion. Like, let's be realistic here. Okay, they're not better without Jason Tatum. Come on, let's be serious. Tonight, they're going to have to show that they can, and that's the thing. They're going to go tonight. They're going to play the Knicks. Okay, and if they lose this game, then the narrative is going to change. If they would have had Jason Tatum. Whoa. Stephen A. Smith and Acho and all these guys that want to, they're better without Jason Tatum. Let's see what the narrative is like tomorrow morning. This is why people don't rock with TV when it comes to national TV, because you say outlandish things like that. There's no way they're better without Jason Tatum. Get real. Get real. Oh, well, they share the basketball more. Do you watch the Boston Celtics? They share the basketball as good as anybody in the game. Derek White's still shooting three-pointers. They shot 63s in game 1. Jason Tatum shot a quarter of them. It's not like he's Kobe. Remember Kobe days where he would shoot 35 times and nobody else would shoot it more than 15? Like, go look at the shot attempts. I just such lazy narrative. Go look at the shot attempts for Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday and for Derek White. Those guys were still shooting the ball when Jason Tatum was there on the court. That has not changed just because he's not in there. Game 6 tonight, Jalen Brunson game. Knicks win this game. They move on to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers, and that is going to be a knockdown, drag out. Those two teams hate each other. As much as you think New York and Boston, there's a hate there, as much as you think that the Knicks and the Celtics don't like each other, if we see Knicks and Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, ooh, Nelly, watch out for that. Leafs going down to South Florida tonight against the Florida Panthers after putting up a stinker there in Toronto for Game 5. They are done. They are cooked. I don't think they have any chance to win this game tonight. They're not a mentally strong team. You're already talking about the future and what's going on with guys like Mitch Marner. You don't do that if you think you're going to win. I think Toronto is cooked. They're cooked. It's over. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. I got to go. I'm not focused right now. USF is up 6-5 in the top of the 5th inning. They're going crazy in the dugout right now. I'm going to go inside because I want to go watch this in my living room and post some of these interviews. A big thank you to Steve Bradley for joining, my favorite coach at USF. Also, Gabby Shirley as well. Such a great time. And, of course, we remember the late, great Steve Duemig on the day of his passing 6 years ago today. We lost the big dog. We miss you, my man. We love you. Monday, again, only going to be on for an hour because Simeon Rice will be over at the Camille Ortiz-Martinez. This girl continuously leans into these pitches. It's so funny. Simeon Rice honored over at One Buccaneer Place on Monday at 1:30. So I'll be on for an hour, and then I'll head over there to One Buck and go from there. Ian Beckles will join us at 12:30 as well. All right, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Jay Recher. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. I love you all. Thank you all for the support. Dave Terry as well for the super chat. Love you, man. Thank you very much. Everybody have a safe and a happy and a healthy weekend. Again, I'm on the USF call tonight on the radio at 6:30. I'm actually on TV tomorrow, ESPN Plus for USF and ECU with the great Jim Lauk. So make sure you check me out there. I'll see you guys on Monday right here on the Jay Recher Podcast. I'm gone. Peace.